How can an armed helicopter, that has even abandoned its fixed-mount machine guns, claim to dominate the future battlefield? This was the question on nearly every military observer's mind in March 2026, when a high-resolution photo of the domestically produced heavy-armed helicopter, designated 6232, appeared online. Unlike the blurry test flight footage seen in the past, this helicopter's fuselage was painted in the standard low-visibility scheme of the Army Aviation Corps, and clearly bore the August 1 military emblem. Military observers unanimously concluded that the domestically produced heavy attack helicopter, known externally as the Z-21, had completed its technical validation and performance test flights, and had entered the final sprint phase before formal adoption and deployment. According to reports from CCTV and other media outlets, the Z-21 is expected to begin small batch deliveries to the military for trial use as early as 2026. This photo has sparked intense discussion not only because it fills the gap in the Chinese Army Aviation Corps' lack of dedicated heavy attack helicopters, but more crucially, because it showcases a design philosophy entirely distinct from that of the world's current mainstream heavy attack helicopters. The Z-21 is not a completely new design built from scratch. Its technological foundation stems from the Z-20 utility helicopter, which has been in service for nearly a decade, and has seen hundreds of units delivered. Core components of the Z-20, including its airframe structure, the turboshaft 10 engine, rotor system, and main gearbox, are already highly mature. The Z-21 is a deeply modified version of this platform. This approach of deriving an armed variant from a utility helicopter is similar to the US strategy of deriving the Apache from the Black Hawk. This model shortens the R&D cycle, reduces technical risks, and allows for seamless integration with existing logistics systems. Some analysts point out that many of the Z-21's production lines can be shared with the Z-20, meaning that once the design is finalized, production capacity can be scaled up very quickly. What exactly are the revolutionary changes made to the Z-21? The first is the removal of the fixed cannon. In traditional combat manuals, the cannon is standard equipment for close-range fire support. However, the wreckage of countless downed helicopters on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield demonstrates that when an armed helicopter closes to a distance of 1 to 2 kilometers to use its cannon, it enters the lethal range of man-portable air defense systems and FPV suicide drones, causing its survival rate to plummet. The Z-21's solution is to completely abandon this high-risk ground attack mode. Eliminating the cannon system and its ammunition feed mechanism frees up hundreds of kilograms of payload capacity, allowing the helicopter to carry more fuel to extend range, install thicker armor, or integrate more powerful electronic countermeasure equipment. The second design feature is the two auxiliary fuel tanks mounted side by side under the fuselage. On traditional attack helicopters, auxiliary fuel tanks are typically mounted on the short wings, but this occupies limited weapon hardpoints. By relocating the auxiliary fuel tanks to the fuselage, the Z-21, while imposing new requirements on landing gear design and ground maintenance, has completely freed up the wing pylons. This means all 6 weapon hardpoints on the Z-21 can be used to carry anti-tank missiles, rocket pods, or even air-to-air missiles, maximizing firepower density. When long-range transit or extended patrols are required, the helicopter can carry the auxiliary fuel tanks, and before entering the combat zone, it can jettison the external fuel tanks to lighten its load. This design directly addresses the core requirements of modern battlefields for greater range and stronger firepower. The third feature is situational awareness. The Z-21 integrates an active phased array millimeter wave radar atop the rotor shaft, providing detection ranges for ground-moving targets that far exceed those of traditional electro-optical equipment. At the same time, the area beneath the nose is densely equipped with multiple optoelectronic sensors, including forward-looking infrared, laser rangefinders, and television cameras, forming a detection network with no blind spots. Together, these systems enable the Z-21 to detect, identify, and lock onto targets from dozens of kilometers away, even in complex terrain and adverse weather conditions. When these design elements are considered together, the Z-21's combat profile becomes clear. It no longer seeks to withstand small-caliber fire with heavy armor, nor does it rely on its onboard cannons for dangerous, point-blank attacks. Its core tactic is, beyond line-of-sight sniping, using its top-mounted radar and advanced electro-optical systems to detect targets at long range, then launching precision strikes with longer-range air-to-ground missiles from outside the range of enemy man-portable air defense systems. This tactic is not a figment of the imagination, but a rule of survival brutally validated on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield. In the early stages of the war, Russia's Ka-52 and Mi-28M helicopters continued to employ traditional tactics, suffering heavy losses. It wasn't until 2023, when they began large-scale integration of the Product 305 long-range air-to-ground missile, that their casualty rate dropped significantly. The Product 305 missile weighs 105 kilograms with a 25 kilogram warhead. It operates on a fire and forget principle and has a maximum range of approximately 14.5 kilometers. This allows the Ka-52 to launch precision strikes against targets 10 kilometers away from the relative safety of the rear lines, avoiding penetration into enemy air defense zones. It was precisely this shift from close-range assault to long-range sniping that allowed the Ka-52 to carve out a new niche for itself in the later stages of the war. Meanwhile, the domestically produced long-range precision-guided munitions designed for the Z-21 are considered to outperform the Russian-made Product 305. Consequently, the Z-21's focus on beyond-visual range combat from its very inception is the inevitable result of combining technological advancements with combat experience. Against this backdrop, a closer look at the so-called rumor that China is procuring 84 Ka-52s reveals numerous logical flaws. Ukrainian and Western media have recently hyped the claim that China plans to purchase an additional 48 land-based Ka-52M helicopters on top of the 36 Ka-52K ship-based models already ordered, for a total of 84, with the first batch potentially delivered in 2026. The source of this information is reportedly internal documents leaked from Russia's Arseniev Progress aircraft plant, with the client code listed as 156. However, neither China's Ministry of National Defense, nor Ministry of Foreign Affairs, nor any Russian official source has provided any confirmation or comment. First, Russia's own production capacity poses a significant hurdle. The annual output of the Ka-52 series is low, amounting to approximately 15 units in 2023. With the Russia-Ukraine conflict still ongoing, the front lines are consuming and demanding a massive number of attack helicopters, and Russia is already struggling to meet its own orders. How could it possibly produce an additional 84 heavy helicopters for China in the short term? This is virtually impossible. Second, there is a fundamental conflict regarding system compatibility. The Ka-52 is part of a complete Russian combat system. Its avionics, fire control, data links, and weapon systems are incompatible with the Chinese military's existing information-based combat systems. Introducing the Ka-52 would require establishing a separate maintenance, training, and logistics support system, and might even necessitate targeted modifications to domestic amphibious assault ships. The overall costs and resulting operational disruptions would far exceed those of using domestically produced equipment. Most crucially, the rapid maturation of the Z-21 has rendered the emergency rationale for introducing the Ka-52 obsolete. The Z-21 is not merely a heavy attack helicopter, it is a fully autonomous and controllable aerial node capable of seamlessly integrating into a joint operations system across all three military branches. It not only meets the demand for heavy firepower in high-altitude regions, but its ship-based variant also provides a ready-made solution for future amphibious assault ships. When a country possesses a platform with superior performance, greater system integration, and more reliable supply chains, it is clearly unreasonable to import equipment that requires significant modifications and has unstable supply chains. In the later stages of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Ka-52M did indeed find its niche on the battlefield by integrating the Product 305 long-range missile and a new targeting and navigation system. However, its value lies in proving that the path of beyond line-of-sight strike is the correct one, rather than demonstrating that it is a mature product worthy of importation. From the removal of its cannon to the addition of underbelly fuel tanks, and from its top-mounted radar to its long-range missiles, the Z-21 has already mastered every technical milestone along this development path. Those who continue to hype the claim that China is acquiring 84 Ka-52s may have overlooked a fundamental fact. When the Z-21 soars through the skies fully loaded with long-range missiles and 6 weapon pylons, the Ka-52 has little place in the future of the Chinese Army aviation